Hi, we are going to be looking at MySQL Shell for Visual Studio Code. This is a preview release that just came out. I'm Dave Stokes, and I'm going to talk you through a quick preview of it. Well, what is MySQL Shell for VS Code version 112 plus 8028? This is an extension for Visual Studio Code that now allows you to interactively edit and run your SQL code for MySQL databases. It has the MySQL shell built into it, and it lets you use VS Code to do all your database development. Now, please be advised, this is a preview release. Some of the plumbing is not hooked up, and there are a couple of gotchas there. However, I found it very interesting, and this just might end up being our graphical user interface for MySQL of the future. Now, among the many features is it takes the powerful MySQL shell and gives you a GUI console. So you get all the great stuff from Shell, or you will when everything's done, in a nice notebook interface styled editor. Now it has a whole bunch of hooks for the MySQL database service and the Oracle Cloud infrastructure, but ignoring that for right now, what we're going to look at is some of the other features that it has. So what do you need to run this? Well, first you have to have Visual Studio Code. And then you need to install the extension, which is found at the URL below. Notice this is not the normal MySQL repository. I'm sure it will get there soon. The installation itself is straightforward if you've installed a package on Visual Code before. If not, follow the directions, very simple. The biggest thing is after you get done installing the code, you have to restart the shell. It will prompt you through that. And when you're all done, you'll see this little icon over here with Sql, the MySQL mascot dolphin, in front of a stack of hard drives. From here, we click that, and you'll notice that we get MySQL Shell for VS Code, and it tells us for connections, cloud infrastructure, the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI, Shell Consoles, you get mobile consoles, and Shell Tasks. Shell Tasks isn't really hooked up to anything yet, but hopefully it will be. Connection. Previously, what I've done is I've gone to the server and set up my username, account, and all that, so that when I go to start a shell console, and by the way, we have multiple sessions here, you connect in. Now, notice when it comes up, it's in JavaScript mode, the very faint, light, almost too light JS with greater sand in yellow. And it says, welcome to the MySQL Shell GUI console. Important here, remember, press Control Enter to execute the current statement. It says execute SQL to get into SQL mode, and we're going to do just that. First, let's go to Python mode. Enter. That's in blue as the MySQL shell normally is. Okay, SQL mode. And you'll notice that we have this command completion for us. Okay, we're in SQL mode. So I'm going to connect the localhost, the world database, Control Enter. It started up a session. You can say creating a session with the parameters just gave. It's connection ID number 35 using the X protocol. Glad to see that. We're talking to MySQL 80828 community server, which I installed on this machine, and I've installed the world database. So if I do go tables, semicolon, Control Enter, shows me the tables. If I do a select city dot, just name from city, and do a limit of 5, Control Enter, it gives me the first 5 cities from there. Now, the great thing about the editor here is if I want to make this a much more complex query, it's easy enough to come up here and just edit away as I want. And we're going to join a country on country.code equals city.country code. Not filling the table names here, which hopefully they'll put in there later. And we also want the country.name. Now, this is the only bug I've found so far. You'll see it in just a second. So we're selecting city name, country name from city, join country on country.code. Very nice to have this online editing. Hit Control Enter. And the only problem I found here is in this case, it gives me, instead of the city name, the country name. Yes, I found a bug on this. If I come back up here and type in an alias, and another alias, so put in the single quote for me, Control Enter. Now it comes back with the right information. But I find the editing very handy, very fast, very intuitive. If I need a second session, I can do that. Control Enter. Go into Sql mode. Something else that's rather nice is I can type in a command here, like show tables. I can come here, highlight, Control C, go back to the first session, roll down, all the way down, hit Control V, Control Enter, and boo, I can cut between the cell sessions. Very interesting new tool. It is preview, not ready for prime time, but I thought it was exciting enough to show you all this. Hopefully you agree. By the way, MySQL's engineers from Oracle would love to have any feedback you have on this. And also, I would like to have some feedback on this video. So hopefully you're like me and found this a very exciting glimpse at the MySQL shell for Visual Studio Code. Please send me your feedback, requests, and suggestions. I'm david.stokes at Percona.com. The folks at MySQL, the Oracle engineers, would probably also love whatever feedback, bug suggestions, or corrections you have. And thank you again for watching. Remember, Percona is a leading provider of unbiased open source database solutions that allow organizations to easily, securely, and affordably maintain business agility, minimize risks, and stay competitive. Find out more at percona.com. Thank you.